Welcome to Table Talk, episode number 8. My name is Brett, pastor at the table, and today I want to talk about why, although the Bible is a bit weird and at many points drives me crazy, I continue to love it. But before I get to exactly that, let me back up a bit and put some framework around this. So, the Bible is the big story through which I make sense of all other stories, including my own story. What do I mean? Well, the philosopher Martin Heidegger said that to be human is to find ourselves thrown into the world. What he means is that it can be really disorienting to be human because we're born into the world with certain duties and frustrations and sufferings, and it all just happens to us. No one asks us, so, would you like to be born? We simply grow up and find ourselves living. And because of this, it's essential that we find our bearings, so to speak. Right? That we find a bigger, broader story to make sense of our individual stories. But be warned, choose your story with care. Because if you think about it, some of the most powerful and destructive social movements in the world are powerful precisely because they become a story that others believe in mass. Right? Think of, for example, communism. It's a story about class warfare. It's a certain reading of history with problems and solutions, and it has heroes and villains and ethics, a way of living. Or think of the fascist movement, Nazism. Again, it's a story about history, about the fatherland, about blood and soil, and who the good people are and the bad people are. It's a story, and I might add that both the communist and Nazi stories turned out to be incredibly dangerous stories, right? And if you think about it, really all politics and all religions are stories. Heck, even science and technology, when elevated to the level of a belief system, something we rely on to tell us what the good is, what the true is, how to live, what to orient our lives around, it really becomes a story. A big story about how we, as objective human beings using nothing but sheer logic and clear thinking, are marching onwards and upwards towards a glorious future. Notice, there's a certain moral element to that. It has a narrative arc to it, right? It's a story. Okay, so why do I love the Bible, and why do I love the Christian story, and specifically the Jesus story? Well, some of you may know a bit about my own history. About 10 years ago, I was in a season where I was doubting the truth and beauty of the Christian story. See, I'd read enough of the Bible to know that the way God is described at points, again, not the whole thing, but at points, is, let's just say, less than stellar. But I gained a tremendous clarity as I read the atheist philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche when he wrote in his book, The Antichrist, that Christianity, at its heart, he said, it's an ethic, an impulse. It's a love of all things lowly and despised. Which is why Nietzsche wrote, and here I'm quoting, he said, God on the cross are the horrible secret thoughts behind this symbol not yet understood. All that suffers, all that is nailed to the cross is divine. And for Nietzsche, this was about the worst thing ever. Why? Well, he found it to be a monstrous story. But for me, it was different. I realized this is exactly what I loved about Christ and Christian faith. And this is why I love the Bible, because it's largely written from the perspective of the despised and weak and suffering. And think about it, it culminates in the story of a crucified God who is raised from the dead as a final, powerful statement that sheer power and violence does not have the final word. Mercy and grace and suffering love has the final word. That's a beautiful, compelling story. And it's a story through which I now read and interpret my own life and the world around me, right? It's less something I stand back from and objectively evaluate, and it's more like the grid through which I evaluate other things. I evaluate my politics and others' politics through the lens of that story. I evaluate my church and other churches through that story. I evaluate my life and others' lives through that story. So this is why I love the Bible. For all its weirdness, it is a beautiful story, and it's one I am choosing to live by. Now, you may say, well, yes, but what about the truth? Like, don't you believe the Bible's true? And, like, don't you have rational arguments for why you believe in God, the Bible, Jesus, resurrection, etc.? Sure. Right? Truth matters, and I'll get to those things in future talks. My point is simply that the beauty of the Christian story is a key reason it has been persuasive for millions of people around the world. Well, that's all for today. If you like this video, please like and share it and subscribe to my YouTube channel by searching Brett Tilford so you don't miss any future episodes. Grace and peace.